Jeff Holmes. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Monday. $710 KUS in Denver.
AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range. This is the Jeff and Bill Show, where you get both sides. Phone line still hot. Talking about the assembly that took place on Saturday. Let's go back to him. Carolyn in Denver. Good morning, Carolyn. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Bill. And I feel both sides. I'm telling you what. First of all and foremost, here I am. I am your Thanksgiving leftovers.
Excellent.
I know you're changing topics. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Anyway, so, you know, there was a song that was popular in the late 70s called, from Saturday Night Fever, it was called Burn That Mother Down. And that is how I feel about what the Republican Party is doing. And here's what I'm picking up on from Michael's call and from what I've observed, which is I don't like politics that much, but I respond. Anyway, so a 75% majority that the judge is challenging as unconstitutional is a 2/3 vote. And I don't see any way that that could be unconstitutional. And I feel like the party just needs to self-destruct at this point. You have your executive power. They want to keep everybody else out of the primary. What that's going to do, as someone said, is bring things further to the right. Just as Republicans leaving Colorado is bringing everything further to the left. So there you go. I'm not sure how to solve it, but this is what I'm observing and what I'm feeling.
Carolyn, I get a sense that there's a lot of people that agree with you out there. I think that the way forward for the party, what needs to happen is you need to start elevating people with proven track records of success in electoral politics. I think it's fine that we have business people that are interested in jumping in here, but show me somebody at the county level who gets wins for their city council, gets wins for their county commissioners, that's getting wins locally, that's fundraising well, and let's start to elevate those people up. It's very similar to the majors. Look at people who've been winning in the minors and proving they can be successful there, get small wins, build trust, and start to elevate those people, not necessarily the person that can throw the most bombs against somebody that you disagree with in the party. That's my perspective.
Jeff, I would agree with you, except that both the Democrats and your executive power committee has their knee on the backs of those who might do those things. You can find a few of them maybe in Douglas County, but where else? There are 64 counties in this state. How many of those counties are Republican ruled or have Republican leaders who can do diddly squat?
Yeah.
How many?
I mean, Carolyn, I'll tell you, as someone who's traveled to a number of these county parties and was speaking to them earlier this year, there's some real talent out there. I just wish that the leadership, the people involved in the Republican Party, start to look at those people. Find people that may not be the biggest voice out there, but that are winning, because a state party leader is somebody that just, it's basic blocking and tackling. They're essentially head coaches. They build teams. They get fundraising dollars in. They build grassroots. There's some great county leaders out there that I think could rise up, and I'd like to see that be the direction we go. I sure appreciate the call, Carolyn. Thank you
thanks,
so
Carolyn.
much.
Have a good Monday.
From Denver. All right, now is time for the news.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good Monday morning. 57 and cloudy in Denver, 55 in the Springs, expecting highs in the lower 70s today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning. For a new home heating and cooling system, contact your Lennox dealer. Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Our top story, the U.S. has started a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. The military said it will be blocking all of Iran's port and coastal areas, but is allowing ships to pass through the waterway if they are traveling between non-Iranian ports. It comes after talks in Pakistan between the U.S. and Iran ended without a deal. NBC's Richard Engel.
Iran is threatening to respond to the new partial American closure of Hormuz. Without providing specifics, the top Iranian negotiator said Iran will respond and Americans will soon be nostalgic for $4 and $5 a gallon gas.
Israel continues to bomb.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Israeli troops inside Lebanon over the weekend, saying the war there is not over. Israel is intensely bombing what it calls targets linked to the militant group Hezbollah, killing hundreds since the general ceasefire was announced last week.
Colorado House Minority Leader Jarvis Caldwell on with the fellas last hour. Spending our money. That's O-U-R, our money that we don't have on programs that are not for Colorado citizens. He says the 4 priorities should be infrastructure, education, safety, and healthcare. Feel the road you're driving on right now.
I imagine everybody listening to this has been up to Wyoming. This secret line, the state line, it's pretty incredible when you drive from one state to another and you go from, busting your tires to nice, smooth glass roads. You just have to ask yourself, what in the world is our money going towards? Because it's obviously not going towards the things we expect to go towards, like our roads. Fund the core principles first, and then let's address the other things.
And one of the main discussions this morning on the show, the logistical problems at the state GOP assembly in Pueblo over the weekend at CSUP. Plenty of criticism, but Chris in Lakewood says, hey, it served its purpose.
I was there until 9 o'clock. I stuck it out for a number of different reasons, because I wanted to see all of the other candidates get their votes. I wanted to support as many people as I possibly could. So for me, mine was a little different. I know that a lot of people are going to have a lot of negative, but we got people into the election, onto the ballot, and that was the main goal. And I'm really looking forward to a lot of these gentlemen moving forward on in their elections.
A Republican Congressman Tim Burchett is calling on the Trump administration to release government files on UFOs and aliens. Burchett has spoken openly, and we've heard that, about his interest with the phenomena in the past, and told Fox News during an interview on Sunday that he has been briefed on some things he called pretty wild. So he's trying to make another move here. We shall see if we hear anything about that. A federal judge is dismissing the president's $10 billion lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch and the Wall Street Journal. The president's lawsuit claimed he was defamed by the newspaper with the publication of a report on Trump's alleged 50th birthday letter to Epstein. The judge said he dismissed the civil complaint because Trump, who has denied sending the letter, had, quote, not plausibly alleged that the defendants published the article with actual malice, end of quote. However, the president will be given the chance to file a new amended lawsuit in the case. A Colorado woman remains in critical condition after being struck by lightning in Superior last week. She was unconscious and had no pulse when first responders arrived, but she was revived and taken to the hospital. All right, Saturday, if you missed it, the DU Pioneers won their 11th national championship in NCAA hockey, 2-1 over Wisconsin. Rory McIlroy wins his second Masters, 12 under, one stroke ahead of Scotty Scheffler. And the Avalanche and the Oilers play tonight. They get ready for the playoffs coming up. The Nuggets getting ready for the postseason, 128-118. Over the Spurs last night to end the regular season. They'll take on the T-Wolves Saturday here in Denver. Tip-off at 1:30. Rockies trying to bounce back after losing 4 in a row in San Diego, 7-2 on Sunday, the final against the Padres. 55 in the Springs, 57 in Denver, and that is the latest. I heard Carolyn mention Saturday Night Fever. She said burn that mother down. I don't blame her. So thank you, Carolyn, for that. Oh, God. It is so good. It is so good. I was like, wait, what song is she talking about? Disco. Yeah, Disco Inferno.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Disco Inferno.
I forgot that was in Saturday Night Fever. Absolutely.
Me too, until you brought that up. That's fantastic.
Yep, 55 in the Springs, 57 in Denver. And that's the latest. I'm Blake Olson. More of the Jeff and Bill show ahead on News Talk 710 KNUS in Denver, and now on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in the Springs. This is where you hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill show.
The week will be off once again to a very mild start, but we actually have a couple of systems that will affect our weather this week that hopefully might bring parts of Colorado a little bit of needed moisture. After reaching the 60s and 70s today, we're going to cool off and have increasing clouds Tuesday. And for Tuesday through Tuesday evening, showers and a few thunderstorms will be possible as a Pacific system moves through a weak one, but it has moisture with it. There'll be a break in the weather Wednesday into Thursday, then another front will arrive Thursday night and Friday. There's a fair amount of cold air with that front. And as we get into Thursday night and Friday, rain and yes, even some snow showers will be possible, and high country snow for Colorado Thursday night through Friday night into Saturday morning as well. So there's going to be some ups and downs with temperatures and conditions this week, more of a typical spring-like weather pattern for the Front Range. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
KNUS in Denver.
AM 1460, FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado.
All along the Front Range. This is the Jeff and Bill show where you get both sides. Blasphemy! That's what X is posting this morning.
It's not even over something I did.
Not just progressives, but Republicans as well. A post by Donald Trump of him healing the nation. This originally came from Nick Adams, and there's a picture of Donald Trump in kind of like Christ-like garb. He's wearing white robes and a red sash around him, and he's got the light in his hands.
Yeah, so it's very much a Jesus imagery. It's very much a pose, clothing, and especially the light in his hand. That's one.
And I think that the notion, if I understand from my art history classes, which was a long time ago, but that was the notion of divine power.
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So the light in your hand is reminiscent of divine power. You have eagles flying. You have the American flag in the background. You have a weird winged image up above his head. And then he's putting his hand. Yeah, there's fighter jets there. He's putting his hand with light on somebody's forehead as if he's Christ healing a sick person. There's a nurse. There's a soldier. There's a woman with her hands looking like she's praying to him.
That's the part that got me, was that one woman, and it's the left-hand side of the picture, right above the guy that's in the hospital bed where Trump has his hand on his forehead, is she has her hands clasped in prayer, and her eyes seem to be directed towards Trump. That, to me, is an interesting image because it gives me the impression of we need not to pray for, but to.
Now, look, I don't take any criticism from the left when it comes to blasphemy, especially after things like the Olympics, where they're happy to blaspheme Jesus Christ. But conservatives not happy about this, and I think they got a point to this. I think this
good point.
This goes too far from my perspective, where Donald Trump isn't just healing the nation; he's almost like a Christ-like figure. In this case, he's not. Jesus Christ is the only King of the universe, and everyone will bow a knee only to him. That is the end times. That is Christ. Christ is the King. But in this case, Donald Trump going, from my perspective, too far, and it should be deleted. Now, Billy, I didn't think you went too far with the Pope. I got problems with this Pope. I've got problems with lots of popes, but in this case, I didn't think Donald Trump was too far with his criticism of the Pope. Let me see if I can pull up the actual post. But what did you think of it?
Now, as far as the image to me was ridiculous in nature, but I expect ridiculousness coming out of the current administration. So was I surprised with how overtly religious it was? No, not at all. Was I surprised that they placed Donald Trump in a Christ-like setting? Nope, not at all. We had a pastor just in the last 2 weeks that supports Donald Trump give a homily about necessarily equating the two. Not saying that Donald Trump was Jesus, but said that he goes through much of the trials and tribulations and he's tested, drawing an analogy between the two that both of them are walking a similar path. No, not even freaking close, because one is a billionaire that has apartments, golf courses, private jets, 3 wives, children from each one of them, and piles of cash. The other guy is the son of a carpenter who gave up all his possessions and was here to save the world. There is a dramatic difference between how both of them lived their lives. And coming through and equating the two, to me, is ridiculous on its face. But we've seen this. The other part in that image of Trump where he is appearing Christ-like, one, it's the American flag in the back that is very prominent, that I'm like, that gets a little rough for me. The other one is everybody else in the picture, with the exception of the sick guy who Trump is healing, is staring up at Trump in awe, as with reverence. I got a problem with that, and I don't care who you are as a politician, but if you're going to put a religious set of imagery and have people looking up at you with that kind of reverence that should be reserved for only our Lord and Savior or angels or the Mother Mary, I got a real big issue with that. So what the images were rather just silly and ridiculous.
I do kind of like the outrage, because it just reminds me that we are a Christian nation.
Yeah. I think it's a really good point.
They're going, all right,
really
now you
point.
guys are all fired up. It's because we're a Christian nation. All right, here's
That's
Donald,
really insightful. Yeah, go ahead and read that.
Donald Trump on Pope Leo, which I kind of agree with. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He talks about fear of the Trump administration, but doesn't mention the fear that the Catholic Church and all other Christian organizations had during COVID, when they were arresting priests, ministers, and everybody else for holding church services, even when going outside and being 10 and even 20 feet apart. I like his brother Louis much better than I like him, because Louis is all MAGA. He gets it, and Leo doesn't. I don't want a pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I don't want a pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela, a country that has been sending massive amounts of drugs into the United States, and even worse, emptying their prisons, including murderers, drug dealers, and killers, into our country. And I don't want a pope who criticizes the President of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record low numbers in crime and creating the greatest stock market in history. Leo should be thankful because, as everybody knows, he was a surprising pick. He wasn't on any list to be pope, and was only put there by the church because he was an American, and they thought that would be the best way to deal with President Donald Trump. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons does not sit well with me, nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left, who is one of those who wanted churchgoers and clerics to be arrested. Leo should get his act together as pope, use common sense, stop catering to the radical left, and focus on being a great pope, not a politician. It's hurting him very badly, and more importantly, it's hurting the Catholic Church, President Donald J. Trump. Bill, as a Catholic, your thoughts, sir?
He needs to shut his fat mouth. Part of it being, I'm sorry, he criticized the Pope and saying he needs to stop being a politician, yet complained about all the politics stuff. His entire screed complaint was about, you don't align with my politics. You're not agreeing with me. And then says the Pope is the one that is playing politics? Donald Trump shouted out the Pope's brother because he's all MAGA and that's better. And yet he critiques the Pope and says it's the Pope that's pro-politics. It's playing politics in this. Where has the Pope been pro-nuclear weapons for Iran? Where? Because he says that the Pope's okay with it. But can he show it anywhere?
Here's
can he show it anywhere?
I agree with him. What are they doing? The Catholic Church is always happy to criticize Republicans and conservative, particularly popes. At least the last few of them have been. What are they doing to bring peace?
You think John Paul?
No, last few of them, like Francis. Francis was the same way.
No, I disagree with you on Francis. I disagree with you on Francis. Francis was
doing?
Francis was
sit
more
there
conservative.
And they go, open borders, open borders. Meanwhile, go try to get into Vatican City. They got higher walls than we do here. And then they criticize Donald Trump for trying to stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, saying nuclear weapons are terrible, and then Donald Trump goes and does something about it, they criticize him for it. What has the Catholic Church done to reduce nuclear weapons in Iran?
Is it the Catholic Church's responsibility to reduce nuclear weapons in Iran?
They're a city-state. They're an actual country. What are they doing?
Hang on a sec. Wait, not my question. Whether or not they're a country is somewhat irrelevant in the conversation.
No,
totally
relevant.
No. What is their role? What do you think the Vatican should be doing?
Reducing the amount of nuclear weapons.
How?
I don't know. But they're not using any of their power.
Hold on.
They have ambassadors. Are their ambassadors doing anything?
How? So
they don't have a military. They have to rely on the Swiss for their own
I know. They don't
protection.
have a military, so you're expecting them to do what? You want them to send ambassadors, right?
How about anything? Are they doing anything?
Hang on. Ambassadors. That's the solution.
No,
Donald Trump, hang on a sec.
You said, what could they be doing? I said they could do that.
I know.
Are they doing that? Are there any
Hang on
ambassadors from the Vatican trying to reduce nuclear weapons in Iran right now?
Hang on a sec. I understand that it seems to functionally make your point, but let's remember, this is Donald Trump that just claimed that he was the one that is the strongest, most virile, most bestest president ever because he went there and started stomping on people inside of Iran to prove a point. We have the guy that was supposed to be the devil incarnate, according to some, with Barack Obama, who got a nuclear deal with Iran. So the idea that ambassadors, again, can they get them to necessarily take away all the nuclear weapons? I thought that was the critique and the complaint about Barack Obama, that they just had people going and looking. It was IAEA that we couldn't possibly trust Iran to do that. Yet the solution now is, why didn't the Vatican send ambassadors? Yeah, again,
the Vatican's not doing anything, and they sit there and they criticize. Bill, they sit there and criticize. Oh, it's so terrible.
And what did they criticize? What did they criticize? What was the critique? The critique was on Trump's behavior with the war, right? So yeah, when was the last time
war they get frustrated about? They wouldn't want anything done.
When has the Vatican been pro-war in our lifetime? We'd have to go back several hundred years.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they skipped World War II as well, and then they operate in this place of hypocrisy where they sit there and demand that the United States treat immigrants really, really well. Meanwhile, go try to be a citizen of Vatican City. They've got tougher immigration rules than we do. That criticism, that hypocrisy, that always drives me nuts.
Well, here's the thing, is that hypocrisy is kind of baked into most religions. It just is. I mean, we can go all the way through it. It doesn't matter. Hypocrisy exists inside of the religion, and it doesn't matter which one you choose. You pick your favorite flavor, even the one you follow, there's hypocrisy that is baked inside of it. So that, while a direct critique, and my own mother church absolutely is hypocritical, 110%, but it's not pro-war. Even though I believe they should have taken a stand in World War II, they're not pro-war. And for Donald Trump to expect the Pope to be pro-war is freaking stupid. That is dumb. The Pope is not ever going to be pro-war. And the part that really, really peels back the entire entire layer and gives us the exact reason that Donald Trump posted this, because it exposes his narcissism. Narcissism on a level that we don't normally get to see displayed in public. But Donald Trump is happy to reveal that narcissism to all of us, stand here and say, look at me! And that narcissism is right there at the end. That the only reason Pope Leo is Pope is because of Trump. That they had to push back. He has no proof. He has no nothing about that. But he just wants to make that point. He's trying to throw a rock that doesn't exist. He is so narcissistic that he believes the Catholic Church,
an interesting point.
That he believes the Catholic Church put in a pope because he's president. That is phenomenally stupid, narcissistic, self-centered.
I don't know.
No.
But you don't know what happened in that room. I think it's an interesting theory. All right.
I
feel
think it
free
is
to join
stupid.
the conversation.
I think it is so beyond stupid and narcissistic. It is ridiculous. It is the epitome of a 3-year-old standing in the middle of the street and demanding that the world revolves around them. There's the proof that Donald Trump thinks the entire world revolves around him and his ego. It is phenomenally stupid and obtuse, and it's offensive that he would sit there and say the Pope was chosen because of him. Ridiculous.
As a response to him. I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
I
on
think
its
there's
face.
an interesting point to that.
You think Mother Church cares that much?
Yes,
they
I do.
don't.
Yes, I do.
They don't.
I think they wanted to hem Donald Trump in, and so they picked a progressive from from America to do so.
They
All right.
don't care.
Let's go to Mountain High Appliance. If you're looking to upgrade your kitchen, laundry room, or outdoor cooking area, look no further than Mountain High Appliance, family owned and operated for the past 31 years. They have hundreds of appliances hooked up for you to have a true try before you buy experience. They offer professional delivery and installation. Shop confidently with the price match guarantee, ensuring you get the best deal and special financing options. So when it's time for appliances, think Mountain High Appliance, your favorite appliance store. 3 locations in the Denver metro area or online at mountainhighappliance.com. mountainhighappliance.com. More of the Jeff and Bill show to come. You're listening to us on 710 KNUS in Denver.
AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. We are the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KUS in Denver.
AM 1460 FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show where you get both sides. We're talking the blasphemous picture of Donald Trump, originally created by Nick Adams. Trump posted that has him as a Christ-like figure. Did he go too far? I think he did. I'm not going to take any criticism from the left on this because they're happy to blaspheme the Lord anytime. You remember, I can't even say the word, the cross in the urine. Remember that art?
Yeah.
That's how the left thinks about Jesus. So I'm not going to take any criticism on that. But many conservatives are going, this is too much. Don't put yourself in that Christ-like figure, Donald Trump. And I go, I think they're right on that. I think you should delete it. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Joe in Arvada. Good morning, Joe. You're on with Jeff and Bill. Did Donald Trump go too far?
I don't think so. I think, it's more Donald Trump tongue-in-cheek than anything. I mean, let's review our Bible history, Billy. David had 4 wives. You going to knock him? How about Solomon? 700? Anyway.
Did any of them claim? Hang on a sec, Joe. Any of them claim to be Christ-like or claim to be a savior?
Well, Christ hadn't been there yet, and David is considered a Christ figure.
There was a prophecy though. There was a prophecy
though.
He
was God's anointed, Billy.
But that's a little different.
I think that's what.
Little different than that.
I think that's what a lot of people believe is that Trump is anointed to expose the Democrats.
Trump's anointed. That's the argument. That he's anointed.
I would say
because we've seen that.
In many ways, yes.
Yeah, because like with David, we saw the
Just a moment.
Because we saw the behavior.
Some of the hypocrisy in the Republican Party.
Yeah,
that's one.
Yeah, because he's been faithful. He's been a follower. Hang on a sec, Joe? If he's anointed, what does it tell the rest of us faithful followers? Should we stop showing up on Sundays in church? He doesn't go to church.
You should start reading your Bible more.
No, he doesn't read the Bible. He can't go through it. He can't even tell you his favorite chapter. He doesn't even know the Bible. So I should stop reading the Bible, Joe? Is that what we're learning?
Well,
that with the anointed we don't need to? All the stuff performative at the church is not needed.
You're just being a hypocrite there.
No, I'm asking your questions. You said he was anointed, and I'm asking.
I don't agree with you.
That's fine. You don't have to.
I'm trying to tell you, Trump knows the Bible better than you do, but you don't know that. That's your problem.
Joe,
anyway,
that is a farcical statement, and everybody else here on the show knows that. So that is ridiculous.
That's why the Pope should quit popping off his pie hole with that pious poop.
Yeah, I know. It's hard when you have a religious leader want to provide leadership and talk about religion. Yeah, they shouldn't do that at all. We should leave that to the president, right? The president should be the one that is telling us how religion works, right, Joe? That's where you look for it. You look for your leadership coming out of that White House.
Should provide.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
Should provide money from the Vatican to stop the new Hitler from rising up. Let's not forget the Vatican supported Hitler against Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Stop with the nonsense.
Hey, I never said that my home church is perfect. We are full of being hypocritical the entire time. I have phenomenal critiques of my own church and my own religion. We have failed more times than I can count. The only thing that I can think that has failed more is me personally in my walk with Jesus. It's the only thing I can think of that failed more than my church's actual failure in staying close to the body of Christ. I get it. But hang on, Joe. That doesn't mean that Donald Trump is Christ-like, nor we need to turn our eyes towards the guy in the White House to be more of a religious lead or leadership than we do as far as someone like the Pope. That's ridiculous.
Joe, I'll give you the final word here.
The Pope's criticism of Donald Trump is equivalent to supporting Hitler in World War II.
Yeah, I know, because
Joe Arvada.
We know who you worship, Joe, and I appreciate it.
Let's talk the Colorado Farm Bureau. Did you know that the farmers and ranchers here in Colorado make up less than 2% of the population, but what they do every day feeds the other 98%? And did you know that Colorado is losing farms and ranches at an alarming rate? That's something that needs to stop. Our Colorado farmers and ranchers care about quality and conservation. They keep efficiency and sustainability top of mind when it comes to growing the food our families eat. When you support Colorado agriculture, you're supporting family farms and ranches right here in Colorado. I know you want to do that. I do too. My friends at the Colorado Farm Bureau are leaders at our state capitol in ensuring farmers and ranchers have the support they need to keep Colorado agriculture thriving. And that's important. If you care about where your food comes from and the people who grow it, become a member today. I'm one. Go to coloradofarmbureau.com. Join me in this mission. Support our local farmers and ranchers. Hit coloradofarmbureau.com and become a member today. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Jim in Denver. Good morning, Jim. What do you think of the Pope and Donald Trump?
Good morning.
Yeah, hi, you guys. I could say a few things about the whole deal. The guy before me was a good caller. I sort of side with what he said, but that doesn't mean I want to say one guy's better than another, overall. But my kind of take on it is, yeah, he does kind of come off really strong, the president. He should reduce how he says things, kind of say it in a different manner, and especially like with the Pope. All he has to say, kind of come out there and say, well, I'm not saying, I'm Christ-like or I'm not the all-knowing one. He should reduce his bravado, but at the same time say, as a public figure, as a president, I don't believe the Pope's doing the right thing to help efforts, to stop what's going on, with proliferation, nuclear bombs, all that.
Well, here's a question I got for both of you guys. Has the Pope been more critical of Iran than he has been of the United States?
Oh, definitely. I think he's.
You think so? I don't think he's been more critical of Iran. I haven't seen statements. I could be missing them.
No, I'm saying I said that wrong. He is more critical. I had it turned around.
Yeah, I think he's more critical of the United States, and I think that's bugging Donald Trump, and it should.
Well,
I think he's more critical of the United States than the leadership of Iran. That's a problem.
Well, here's the problem. Some of it is going to be media coverage. And what I'm going to share with you, Jim and Jeff, is that if the Pope says something that is critical of the U.S. or Donald Trump, it will get played in the U.S. media. If the Pope says something critical of Iran, it's not going to play in the U.S. media because it's not about Iran, and it's the Pope. So we're not going to see everything. I don't know a list of items either way, but I'll tell you this. The statement by Trump that the Pope is okay with Iran having nuclear weapons is flat out wrong. That's wrong, and he's describing motivations, and that's the idea. He's describing motivations and saying things about the Pope that he can't prove, and we know this as well. Yeah. Donald Trump lies, and lies a lot about a lot of things. And the fact that he goes so far, and he goes so far to say that he thinks the Vatican chose the Pope based on him, that is narcissism on a level that we haven't seen, in all honesty, since my own church decided that we were the center of the universe.
What was the point of choosing this Pope?
Guess what? I am not a part of the College of Cardinals.
Right. So we don't know.
Hang on a sec.
We don't know.
But wait. The assumption that it is because of this guy who for 4 years is going to be running America is farcical on its face.
You're assuming the other direction too.
Hang on a sec. I know how these things are chosen. No, I know the debates that go on. I know about the debates, and I know how the conversations that go on as far as what direction the church wants to go. Guess what they never talk about? Who's running one of the countries, especially the U.S. Never comes up in the conversations. Never does. No.
Does. All right,
they
Jim,
don't care. They don't care about us.
I'll give you the final word here. Jim from Denver.
I hate to go back to Charlie Kirk, but I'm sure he would have said it much, much better in that same kind of context, vein about the Pope, what he does, and or some other person that's good at speaking in media that knows how to run, their words and choose the right way. And Trump, his efforts of saying something are sort of on target, but then he gets off in his personal philosophy or opinion and says it the wrong way, and then people take it always the wrong way. And I'm sure Kirk wouldn't have said it like that. And if he would have lived longer, who knows, or other people, how they describe what's going on, in the United States with Iran and this war right now. And, if you get what I'm saying, I think, and we don't have that other person known in the Republican Party right now that really knows how to bounce ideas very well. Vance is pretty good, but he needs to
we got to talk about Vance and the 21-hour negotiations. We'll get to that next. Jim, Denver.
That was terrible the way they handled that. Yeah.
Gosh, we'll get to that next.
Maybe next time.
That's another topic.
Yeah, Jim, and thanks for that. And maybe next time you send some negotiators. How about that idea?
Dude, I think, because if you read last week's New York Times article about the debate going to the war, I think that was Trump going, if you think you could do better, do it.
Well, here's the
It
other
was
part
like
is,
sending a young man in to realize he ain't got dad strength yet.
well, the other part is that where are the negotiators? I mean, remember, the run-up to the war, our negotiating team was Lutnick and Kushner, guys that have no real significant diplomatic experience in these type of situations, and they do real estate deals. And we're surprised the real estate guys couldn't get a nuclear deal. And now we're surprised that J.D. Vance, who's coming with him? Who'd he come in? I know the Iranians came in with at least 20 different delegates. Who's going with him?
Didn't he have Wickoff and Kushner with him again?
That's not an endorsement of anything good. They're two real estate guys. They're going to help him get a
Well,
nuclear deal?
That's not true. They got the peace deal. They've got the Abraham Accords. There's a lot from these guys that they've been able to deliver.
They got more money coming out of Saudi Arabia and their investors than they did as far as anything accomplished diplomatically. They pulled more
Billy,
cash.
they got the peace deal with Gaza as well. So, all right, let's talk
Is that a peace
modern
deal?
rugged leather. From city streets to mountain trails, your gear should go wherever life takes you. That's why at Modern Rugged Leather, every bag is handcrafted from premium, responsibly sourced leather. Designed to look sharp, last long, and tell a story of its own. Each stitch, buckle, and strap reflects timeless craftsmanship and is backed by a lifetime warranty, because quality shouldn't quit when the adventure begins. So whether it's the boardroom or the back roads, Modern Rugged Leather helps you carry confidence every step of the way. Modern Rugged Leather, modern style, timeless durability, backed for life. Life's going to take you places, folks. Make sure your gear keeps up. Shop the full collection. Find yours today at modernrugged.com. Again, that's modernrugged.com. More of the Jeff and Bill Show to come. We'll continue the debate. You're listening to us on 710 KNUS in Denver.
AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. This is where you hear both sides. Your calls are next. This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
710 KNUS in Denver.
AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs.
All along the Front Range, this is the Jeff and Bill Show, where you can get both sides. If you're looking for a great place to eat, guys, check out Black Eyed Pea of Colorado, locally owned and operated by Stephen Michelle. My whole family loves this restaurant. By the way, Billy, Mike Boyle and I grabbed lunch on Friday last week at the Black Eyed Pea in Castle Rock. Always so good. I got to talk with the chef down there, a guy from Pueblo, represent. It was awesome. 8 locations. There's sure to be one near you. Need a good reason to take the family out to eat at the Black Eyed Pea? How about this? You can get a free kids meal with the purchase of an adult entree. Yep, you heard that right. Kids eat free every day at all locations with the purchase of an adult entree. Limited one offer per visit. Dine-in only. Valid for kids 12 and under. The Black Eyed Pea makes everything from scratch: slow-cooked pot roast and meatloaf, chicken fried steak and chicken tenderloins, grilled salmon, and grilled or fried shrimp. They've got daily specials and senior discounts. They're the original scratch kitchen. It's homestyle cooking worth going out for. I love everything about this restaurant. You will as well. Keep it in Colorado by supporting local. Let them do the cooking for you. Visit the Black Eyed Pea near you, blackeyedpeacolorado.com. Headline from the New York Times over the weekend: 21 hours in Pakistan. How Vance tried but ultimately failed to end a war he opposed. I want to take people back. It was a few days ago, New York Times had a big expose on the decision to go to war. And they even detailed out who sat in which seat. Clearly, there was support in this account from the White House. So it wasn't just anonymous sources, that type of thing. So they detailed kind of all the conversations, who agreed with the president, who challenged the president, and J.D. Vance was very clear in his opposition to the strike in Iran.
Yeah,
now, he gets on a plane, flies over there, does 21 hours there, most of it negotiating to try to bring an end to this. The way I read this was, I could be wrong here, but the way I read this was, all right, you don't think we should do this? Go tell Iran they can't have nukes. JD, just go do it. Go tell Iran they can't have nukes. Dude flies all the way to Pakistan, sits in a meeting for 21 hours with them, and leaves. And guess what the primary point of contention was? Nukes. They want them. They're willing to die to get them. And so I think Trump sent him over there to learn a lesson. That's my read of this. What do you think?
Yeah, I do think that it was a, well, you don't like this, and so I'm going to make you go fix this kind of a thing, that it was sort of a punishment. And I'm curious to see how this nuclear weapons thing plays out, because I came to an opinion late Saturday, early yesterday, that is probably very stupid, but I'll throw it out here on the show just because we got about 5-6 minutes left, and might as well. I'm wondering if the people in Iran can actually get to the conclusion that they don't need a nuclear weapon anymore, because I don't think they do. I think originally the nuclear weapon was the idea of a defensive weapon in the region, and the idea that you got to listen to us or we can be this big bad person, also to prevent exactly what just happened to them. Another nation coming in and bombing them and attacking them, because we haven't seen a nuclear powered country be attacked in this manner. So It becomes a defensive weapon. We haven't gone as much as Donald Trump was machinating about during his previous term, the first term, with North Korea. We didn't go and bomb them, did we? No, we talked about having a bigger button, but we didn't go and bomb them. And that's the reason. That's the reason why.
But they're not a defensive country. In fact, they're the most offensive country when it comes to terrorism. So you can't just say, well, maybe they'll get it to protect themselves.
But the issue is that they're used right now as a defensive nuclear weapon. Now, the other part is, I understand this idea that they're going to hand them out to terrorists all over the place. I disagree, simply because of you become a pariah as soon as someone, and you can trace back nuclear fission back to where it comes from, the enrichment of the uranium. There are ways to do it inside of the uranium.
Oh, man,
there are
you
ways
are
you can
giving
trace
them
it.
way too much credit.
Wait, hang on. There are ways. I understand that, but I disagree that they are going to hand out these nuclear weapons. But what they have now is they don't need a nuclear weapon, because we have shown them they can control the Strait of Hormuz. They can, without a nuclear weapon, bring the entire world's economy to its knees. And they don't need to have that nuclear weapon. They just need to have control of the strait. And the advantage, if I'm talking in the ear to the Iranians, the advantage of controlling the strait and not having a nuclear weapon, one, you give up the chip and you allow the Americans the win to not have the nuclear weapon. You retain control of the Strait of Hormuz. You still have the defensive capabilities of making sure nobody comes in and screws around with you. You can enact pressure on the global economic system in a way that a nuclear bomb does not, because a nuclear bomb attacks innocence. When you close down the Strait of Hormuz, you're shutting down oil, gas, you're shutting down economies. It's a different leverage point, and it's a much more powerful leverage point. If I was advising Iran, I say you give up the chip of the nuclear weapon, you hang on to that Strait of Hormuz, because that is a much more powerful deterrent weapon for your sovereignty than any nuclear weapon ever will be.
As we see Iran play this all out, I am happier each day that Donald Trump took action here for a few reasons. One, pariah. These are the same people that were happy to pay Hamas to fly into Israel and rape teenagers and put babies in ovens. They don't care at all about being a pariah. They're happy to embrace the notion of being a pariah and to pay others to do so. And the fact that these folks fight so hard the way they do, they can't ever even be close to getting a nuclear weapon. I'm thrilled of what Donald Trump did. I think they were building up more and more drones, more and more of these problems that we're seeing in the Strait of Hormuz. They were building these. Donald Trump acted decisively to address this threat, and the world is safer as a result of it. But feel free to be a part of the conversation. Text us at 720-819-5115. Marvin, the meat handler, he's got a point here. Is Donald Trump now getting Vance to essentially become not as relevant? Is he picking Marco Rubio at this point? And as Marvin said, is Vance getting penced? Whoa!
If Vance can make the deal, he has the inside track.
I'll give you that. I will absolutely give you that. But he didn't. 21 hours in Pakistan, didn't come away with anything.
Yeah,
is he getting penced?
Well, I remind you now that the deal that nobody liked with Obama, it took them 20 months, nearly 2 years, and we're giving up on J.D. Vance after 21 hours. 20 months versus 21 hours.
This is why
what's your commitment?
This is how bad Iran is.
What is
how
the commitment?
Committed they are to nuclear weapons.
And what's the commitment of the Trump administration?
Billy, the United States offered them free nuclear power for life. They turned it down. All right, we'll continue the debate tomorrow. It's a full week. We're just kicking it off. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710, KNUS in Denver.
And AM 1460 FM 101.1, The Answer in Colorado Springs. Thanks for spending Monday morning with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Jeff and Bill Show.